Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TeamWorks. I hope you're enjoying the team building phase. It's our kids' favorite phase because it gets them up and going and running around. And for mentors, they really appreciate it because it really is setting that tone and that sense of unity, and you're building on that, that concept of teamwork and group cooperation. All right, so very fun phase. One of my favorite phases as well. I wish we could do team building into eternity. Love team building exercises. But without further ado, we're going to move in today's session, which is another team building exercise, but it's a fun one because it's about role reversals, and you guys are going to get a chance to be kids. So I hope you guys come prepared and ready, have your acting chops ready to go. But this activity is called Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday, just like the movie. For those of you who are a little bit older, like myself, you probably remember the original version with Jodie Foster. And for those of you who are a little younger, you probably remember the most recent version with the crazy Lindsay Lohan. I love her. I met her. She's very sweet. I take that back. But anyway, Freaky Friday is the name of this session. So our question of the day, because we're in that team building phase and that leadership development phase, we're going to explore leadership and communication and how they go hand in hand. You have to be a good communicator to be a good leader. So to get things going, we have a communication kind of question. The question of the day is, how do you react when you don't see eye to eye with someone? Or it can be when someone doesn't understand what you're trying to say. So how do you react in either case? When you don't see eye to eye with someone, or someone really just can't understand what you're saying. I suspect that many of our kids, they should have a lot to say about this because I'm sure they have a difficulty at this age with all those hormones kicking in, and that them trying to assert their independence. They're probably having a difficult time explaining themselves and getting a point across. I'm sure when it comes to eye, they probably has issues with their peers, maybe with their teachers, with their parents. With that understanding, same thing, probably, when they're trying to communicate or explain themselves, they get frustrated because they can't get their point across. But anyway, this should be a great way to get the conversation going about communication and how do they deal with it, maybe even how can they improve it, and we'll get that going, we'll get them warmed up to that thought, because the activities moving forward for today are really about tying and combining communication and leadership. All right, so that's your question of the day. Good communication question. All right, and now we're going to go into Energizer, and we're going on that theme once again about communication, and it's called translations. And you guys probably know this. Many times when we're not clear about something we communicate, it can be left into, up to some crazy interpretation, like that telephone game that we've all played when we were kids. This is kind of a variation on that, all right? So it's called translations. So pretty simple, you're going to give each student a piece of paper and something to write with. That's simple. This is all you need, a piece of paper and something to write with. And then you're going to ask your students to write a sentence at the top of the page. So it's got to be at the very, very top of the page because you're going to continue to fold this piece of paper. Almost like a fan. Remember when we made fans when we were kids? So make sure that they're writing a nice, clean, simple sentence at the top of the page. It can be as descriptive as they want, but just one sentence, nothing more than that. So I'll take a minute to write my sentence. All right, I've got my sentence written. And now what you're going to ask your students, once they've written their sentence at the top of the page, now you're going to instruct them to pass that to the right. All right, so I wrote my sentence. Now I'm the kid on the right. I got a new piece of paper with just a sentence written at the top of the page. Now you're going to ask your students to illustrate, to draw what they think that sentence is saying. So, for example, my sentence is, today I built a doghouse for my curly-haired poodle. I really don't have a curly-haired poodle. But anyway, today I built a house for my curly-haired poodle. So that was the sentence I was reading. I would do my best to draw that. So I'm going to draw a little doghouse, and I'm going to draw a little stick figure poodle with some curly hair, because that's the best of my drawing ability. I'm going to put woof. So hopefully, someone understands that because of my poor drawing that it's a dog and it barks. All right, so now that I've done that, you're going to ask the student, that same student who did the drawing, to fold and hide the sentence, all right? To fold and hide the sentence so that all you see is their drawing, all right? So don't forget that. Hide the sentence and all you see is a drawing. Now, you're going to ask the students to pass it to their right. So now I was here, I was the original one to write the sentence, I'm the next student, I read the sentence, did my drawing, hid the sentence, all that's left is my drawing. Now I'm the next student, and I'm looking at a drawing of this crazy house and this stick figure thing that says wolf. Now my job is, as the third student, is to write a sentence. What do I think that drawing is saying? So I'm going to pretend I'm that third student, and I'm going to say, looks like my dog ran away from home. All right, that's what I get when I look at that picture. Once that's done, you're going to ask that student now to fold it again and hide the drawing. So now they fold it again and hide the drawing. And now what's left is a new sentence, all right? And so then we pass it to the right again. And the next kid gets this sentence, my dog ran away from home. And you're going to ask that student to illustrate illustrate that sentence to the best of their ability, and then we fold and we keep going and we keep going. So you're going to keep this going around in your whole circle until that piece of paper comes back to its original owner. All right. So you want to make sure that that piece of paper comes back to its original owner, etc., etc. I got ahead of myself here. And then once you get it back, as I said, you keep that pattern going in that circle, the folding, the drawing, writing a sentence, whatever. Once it gets back to the original owner, you'll ask them to read the final either drawing or sentence, because it depends how many kids show up, how it ends. And then you're going to ask them to look back at their original sentence and ask, how did your sentence translate? All right, so how did your sentence translate? And they'll, unfold the page and they'll see, like the telephone game, how their sentence ended up with, I went to get a haircut at the beauty salon. All right, so sometimes they end up that crazy by the time it's all said and done. All right, so again, a great fun little communication exercise. Now let's go into the fun Freaky Friday, and you guys get to do that role reversal, as I said. So the objective of Freaky Friday is, again, to develop those leadership and communication skills by giving the kids an opportunity to lead a session. So mentors, really let them lead the session. Really, really, really give them that chance. If you guys even want, they can do the question of the day with you guys, etc. It's up to you, but really let them lead the session, all right? Now, as they're leading the session, here's what I really ask. That you guys mirror the behavior on your team. So mirror the behavior on your team. If you've got some talkative kids on your team, then take on that role and be a talkative kid. If you've got some kids who are fidgety and they just can't sit still, be that fidgety kid. If you got some kids who are super shy, then be a little shy. And if you got that spirited kid, be a little spirited. Just to give them a little challenge, all right? I'm hoping that if you guys are mirroring their behavior, they're going to see and hopefully, want to improve their behavior, especially since they're leading a session, so they're going to feel your challenge. All right, so now you're going to explain to students that today they are the mentors, all right? Today that they are the mentors, you're going to split them up in about 3 groups of mentors. So you'll ask by show of hand who would like to be the mentors today, and you just kind of clump them up into 3 groups. Use your discretion. As they're broken up into 3 groups, you're going to hand each mentor team a task. So on this piece of paper, it'll be folded and stapled. Each team will get a task, an assignment that they are to instruct you how to do. All right, so they're going to get an assignment, a task, and their job is to instruct you how to complete that task. All right, so let's say I'm in group A. All right, I'm in group A, and I've got my little assignment. We're going to allow the kids a few minutes, so while they're in their mentor teams, they're going to get it, and they're going to look at it, and they're going to be like, all right, you guys, this is what we're supposed to do. So, for example, this first task, it is called Structure Restructure, And what we have to do, me as the mentors and you guys as my students, I've got to explain to you how to lay out these odd items. And I have a pattern here, I have an illustration here that I'm going to try to get you students to duplicate. So as kids, they're going to pass out their materials to you guys, and then I'm going to say, okay, and they got some very specific rules here. They can't repeat the instructions, they can't use any gestures, they can't draw to kind of show you what they mean, and they can only use words. And again, communication, they can only use words to explain the point they're trying to make. So I'm looking at my drawing and I'm going to say, okay, mentors, I need you to bend the pipe cleaner. and you guys can bend it any way you want. So what I'm asking you mentors as well, not only are you mirroring behavior, but you're taking the kids literally. You're taking the kids literally. So make sure that whatever it is they say, you do it. If they say, I want you to put this popsicle stick in the upper right-hand corner, put it over here. Put it somewhere on the right. Put it anywhere you feel is how you interpret or how you heard it. All right. So we want them to take youth to take their instructions literally. All right. So that's the first one. Really fun. They're going to tell you how to lay something out. The next one is they're going to tell you guys how to draw something. So they're explain how to draw something. And then the last one is kind of fun. It's a cut and paste. It's called cut and paste. And they're going to tell you how to recreate a flower. And pretty simply, you're going to get some tape. They're going to give you construction paper. You're going to cut strips. And then you're going to fold the strips. And when you fold the strips, they're supposed to make a flower. All right, so that's it in a nutshell, pretty simply. You guys are the students. The kids are the mentors. They've got 3 assignments they're going to ask and try to instruct you guys to do. And that's it in a nutshell. I always get ahead of this pad. That's it in a nutshell. So don't forget to have fun with the kids. Don't forget to take on their personalities. And I like to end with one of those good quotes. Always one of those good quotes to bring it home. So leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. So leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. And boy, if this is not going to be a test of that for the kids this week. Enjoy yourself. I look forward to our next week's session. It's Will signing out.